Because we're recording now.
Yay!
Yay!
Cheers,
Happy
Mama.
Cheers, Mama.
Me and my chippy mug.
I love your chippy mug. I have a couple with them. I don't think they're my favorite mugs, but I am now 2 weeks and I haven't repeated a mug.
That's a lot of mugs, lady.
That's a lot of mugs.
Hi, I'm Mindy, by the way.
Hi,
Dean's mom.
Auntie Kirka.
Auntie Kirka. Ollie's mom.
Ollie's mom, also known as Ollie's mom.
Yep.
And we are here on Sunday morning doing what we do with some coffee and some mom talk. And you have tea. Yeah.
I had to do the coffee much earlier. Even though it's decaf, it's the ritual, it's the smell.
The smell, the feel, because
the moment.
Tea, you still get that warmth, but it's still different.
I love tea. I'll drink tea all day, all night, different, still caffeine free. But yeah, even like an Earl Grey or, something, it's still not coffee.
It's not coffee, right? I'm actually starting to like tea more, drinking more of it, but now it's kind of more of an afternoon, nighttime thing. I guess maybe because I drink the Tulsi and stuff, at bedtime later in the day.
Yeah.
So now tea works for me at night. So
yeah.
I do like a good cup of peppermint tea in the afternoon.
Yeah, yummy.
But yeah, coffee in the morning, there's just something about, I'm still doing half calf, so I haven't gone to fully leaded yet. But yet, or I won't. Or maybe I'll go back to all decaf. We'll see.
You never know. The mystery.
You never know.
So, go ahead.
I was gonna say, if I could actually get to sleep when I go to bed, I might actually get to speaking of our theme for today.
Yeah, this is a good thing. Yeah. So the proverbial oxygen mask.
Yes.
And putting yours on first. Self-care in this interesting, unprecedented time that we're living in. Although there have been plenty of plagues on the earth. It's just most of us haven't lived through one.
Right. It has happened in the world before. And great-grandparents, we'll add some greats to that, did it. But sometimes it's just in the current world, it hasn't happened. Because 1918, you could call the modern world. Maybe we didn't have computers in 1918, but
yeah. Yep.
We had boats, and it was post the Titanic disaster and post World War One, and
itchy head.
or early World War One, 1918. Yeah, early World War One. Sorry.
Yes, but it came back. Actually, the Spanish flu of 1918 came back around 1924, and my great grandmother passed away when my grandfather was like 3 years old. So it happens.
Yeah,
it has happened.
We just haven't gone through. I know there's been threats at different times where we thought, right, you start to prepare, but now we're going through it. And whether you call it self-care or, self-care was kind of, to me, already getting thrown around so much and so well used even before this was happening. I like the term which you've always used, putting your oxygen mask on. Because if you're not, it's kind of if you feel you're supporting everybody, at some point, if you don't put your, it's kind of taking from airplanes, right? You can't help anybody for too long if you don't put your oxygen mask on first. Everybody wonders why, right? That's the instruction. It's like, well, how long can you breathe without the air and help more people?
Right. And you can get your oxygen mask on quickly. If you choose to, someone can, even a newborn infant, can go a full 20 seconds without air before things need to shift. And you most certainly can get your oxygen mask on in 20 seconds. As far as these tasks or efforts or practices or rituals, might take more than 20 seconds to do them.
Yeah.
But they are worth it. I think a lot of the you can't draw from an empty well. You should be serving from the overflow, which is something that seems to be scoffed at in this world of busy, 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 do more, and hustle.
It's more of the overflow comes to you if there's anything left.
Yeah.
Right.
I detest the word hustle.
Mm-hmm.
Hated it as a kid in PE. Even though I say it to my kid all the time now. Hustle, come on, let's go. She's like, squirrel, sky, squirrel. Let's run really fast in the opposite direction.
Because we're fair.
Yeah. So there's that. But speaking of squirrel, my brain just went on a
Oh, you're good.
tangent.
You're good. Well, and it's just, even if it's deciding what the priorities are, right? It can come from that. Is it the priority to take the 5 minutes to make the coffee in the morning? Maybe it's just that, right? Whether it comes from a place of you've had caffeine for so long and you need the caffeine, or the comfort of the coffee and what it brings. Taking the 5 minutes to make the coffee in the morning, it can be as simple as that, right? That's what I do for myself. I know one of the things I do, because I am working from home, I am grateful I'm able to work and I'm working from home, is where I'm still marking the difference in day. So one of the things I'm doing is I get up, maybe not as early as I was, but I get up and I take a shower and I do my hair. And I may or may not put makeup on. 3 to 4 days a week, I actually am putting makeup on. I do video conferences like this all day, so I do put makeup on. But that to me, I may not get dressed up. I mean, I work in a casual environment, so jeans were okay. But maybe I'm wearing leggings or shorts instead, because I don't have to. But I am dressing, to be on the phone, still using 20th century terminology, but to be on calls with clients and teammates, I am dressing for that. I am preparing for that. And then day end, computer goes off, I get changed, right? I'm marking it. That's one of those things that I'm doing to mark the difference between this is work and this is home. Do they still blur? Yes, my teenager's home, she's schooling. The toddler's home at times, so he's there, right? So that is blurring, but at the same time, there's still that, this is the part of my day that is work, and this is the part of the day that is not, so that I can mentally make that difference. And I think if you're working from home in that capacity for somebody outside of the home, that's really important, so that you still switch your brain. And if you can do that, I think you'll be able to talk to us a little bit more maybe, but I think sometimes if you can do that a little bit, even as a home, self-employed entrepreneur, work from home, however you want to word it, everybody does different, I think if you can make that demarcation a little bit, maybe, but I that's not my life, so I can't say, but I know from somebody that works for somebody outside, that is helping me.
The two things that I really felt important to talk about was, well, first, we've talked for a long time about going against the hustle mentality, right?
Mm-hmm.
And working on doing less,
Mm-hmm.
paring down physically, mentally, emotionally, and doing things that are aligned with who we are and that sort of thing. And I think that globally, everybody is having the opportunity to learn that lesson right now, whether they take full advantage of it or not. But along with that is something else that we talked about with calendars and plannings and things like that, was intention is so important.
Mm-hmm.
And we have the opportunity now to be mindful in our intentions and flow within the framework of that, right? So my daughter is homeschooled or unschooled. Well, when I was going to work at the library, she went with me to the library most of the days. But I also have an online biz, etc. And so I found times when I had more of a business mind,
Mm-hmm.
and times that I didn't. And I tried to utilize those to take advantage of things. But there had to be some flow in that, because my child isn't going to be the exact same every day,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so there might be days where things just 9 to 10 a.m. or 8 to 10 a.m. might be my best business flow. But if my kid is losing her mind,
right,
things have to shift. Priorities have to shift. And so I think that that's important. But I came across a post that my girlfriend Monica posted, and I'm sorry, I don't know the original poster. Looked like maybe a mom blogger, and she was just talking about these 3 things that need to happen for something to happen
mm-hmm.
in your life. Is you have to have the time to do it,
Mm-hmm.
you have to have the ability to do it, but you also have to have the capacity. So I would like to be one of those people that steps up and against that meme that's going around that, like, if you don't come out of this pandemic with a side hustle and
Oh my goodness,
then you've just like blown
or
your
a
life,
new skill,
right?
or speaking a new language, or whatever. Insert thing here, right? Yeah.
Insert attachment to the old structure and order, which is no longer working and crumbling, right? So sure, we might have lost a job, so we have time. We might be working at home, so we don't have our commute anymore, so we have more time, right? But there's other things that play against that too. You might have kids at home now, so you technically are at home more, so you have more time at home, but you don't have more time. Time's not linear, but time doesn't really work that way unless you're in the flow. Ability. Your ability might be you're a freaking good hairstylist, but quarantine doesn't really allow that, right? So you might have to shift that ability to how do you make life work now when your personal one-on-one skill can't happen. And then capacity is a really big. Everything's crazy. Whether you're working at home and you have a paycheck, you still don't know. There's still so many unknowns about money and where it's coming from because of everything, right?
Right.
Or maybe your money is okay, but your parents isn't. And what does that mean for you? And so capacity is that mental, emotional, spiritual space, and physical too, because all of that mental, emotional, whatever happens on a physical level too. And we have to have the physical capacity to process all of that, right? which means maybe more naps, means more sunshine, means more good for you food, means saying no, right?
Well, yeah, because
So,
I mean, 2 or 3 weeks into it, you have to figure if, and for some, right, in some areas, I know today, as of today, so as of 5 o'clock last night, they shut down, right, all salons, barbers, and anything that fits within that
yeah,
bubble, right? That industry, massage parlors, so your massage envies kind of thing, your tattoo parlors, things like that. So those shut down officially as of 5 o'clock yesterday. You have to, if you have the capacity as of Monday morning to hit the ground running and go, I have this ability, but I also have this ability and I'm going to adjust. Great. But also accepting that some people are going to take a week to grieve and realize what's happening. It's that sudden loss of and change. It's like a Saturday night, normally you would be thinking of Tuesday, right? This is what I'm about to do. Or if you work in another industry, you got furloughed on Friday and as of Monday, it's like take that time. Your capacity right now is to accept that something else is happening. This has happened, right? And I don't mean accept as in, oh, this is okay, I mean,
right.
accept that this is what's happening at this moment and accept that you're going to have a certain feeling about it and feel those feelings. And it's okay if in the first week, 2 weeks, that's what you deal with because that's the capacity you have. Right. And that's why all of those memes are bothering me too, because you don't know where in the process, we're only 3 weeks into this, right? You don't know where in the process, because everybody's different. Anybody is.
Right.
So to be throwing the memes around, if you don't do this, whether it's about learning something new or it's about your kids on a schedule all day, not all kids thrive in that. Yes, every kid that goes to school is forced into a schedule, but that doesn't mean that's what's best or that's what the best capacity is for your family. So I think that's also, realizing what you can take and leave and what's going to work best for you and your family and what moment you're in right now. That's that's key too.
I think that the memes are correct in that, yes, we are given an opportunity. Like, this is a huge opportunity. Does that mean that today you need to put a chunk of change into a website and try to hire a web designer and blah, blah, blah? Maybe not, right? Like, there's an incubation period for the virus. There's an incubation period for dreams as well.
Mm-hmm.
And you're not misusing the opportunity of being at home to rest, to plan, to grieve, to accept, to do whatever it is that you feel led to do at that time. Because I can almost guarantee you, if you're somebody that sees that meme and then you have to do it right now, you're probably gonna run.
You're gonna hit
right?
that crash, right? Yeah.
Not to put negativity out there or whatever, but it's just like there's still a flow to things, right? And to force and to push and to demand may not be the best option. And if you go out there and you crash, you
There's nothing wrong with that either, right? That's a learning opportunity to also then understand what your capacity is sometimes, to understand what your flow is and then adapt from there. And now is the opportunity for us to be able to, in some ways, test some of those things, see what flow works for you. Does that faster pace, okay, let's tackle something new, let's do something new, is that what yours is? Or is it, okay, let's take a little bit of time to kind of go inside and figure out right?
Yeah.
What should my next step be? And I know it's hard because there is that lot of stress, right? There's a lot of stress to, it may seem like, okay, well, I have to make money because I have to do this, and I have to do this, and I have to do this. So it can be very stressful to try to make yourself kind of step back for a minute. And that's what we're talking about with what do you need to do, right? What is your oxygen mask to help you get through that piece, right? Is it?
I think one tool that might be really helpful, sorry, you were talking about what's true, and that triggered for me.
Nope, you're good.
If you have never heard of Byron Katie and the Work, now would be a really good time to check it out, because it's 4 questions and it can help you drop a lot of the bullshit.
I want to say it sounds
familiar,
like I've seen it somewhere, but okay, go ahead, because I'm going to write that down.
Yeah.
I can find it.
It helped me get through my divorce. And like the first question is it true? Is it true you have to work? Is it true you have to work in this job for this company? Probably not. So then all those other stories that you're telling based on that, I have to do this here now, get to just drop away because it's not true. But there are 4 questions and it's worth checking out. But I wanted to take a second to think about those.
Byron Katie.
The Work. BYRON KATIE.
No, I found a pen and I finally found some paper and now the pen doesn't.
But the 3 things that having time, ability, and capacity, I wanted to talk about maybe an oxygen mask for each one of those things, right? Because we may feel like we have more time and we may feel like we have no time. And whichever one we're feeling right now, we might feel the other 5 minutes from now, right? So we might need an oxygen mask to help with time. So right now, my number 1 oxygen mask to help with time is my morning ritual of a cup of something, hopefully coffee or my hot cacao, and this simple composition notebook and a pen, and the space to sip and write. So if I honor my mornings by having that mental space before I look at my phone and deal with things like that, before I deal with my beloved daughter or spend time with her, not deal with, some mornings. But when I honor that specific time, my capacity around time seems better. Like, I feel as if I have time to do things. My oxygen mask for ability is I am reading. I'm rereading Super Attractor by Gabby Bernstein and being in a book club to talk about that, because that works on my ability to receive and evolve some of my thoughts and let go of some old stories. But like we said, you might need to be shifting abilities right now because you might need or want to work in something else. And so if you wanted to have a side gig regarding something, now might be the time not to go balls to the wall for it, but maybe it's growing that ability to do it. So watch yourself some YouTube videos instead of Netflix, right? Or read a book about it. You know, get online and download an ebook and read that to increase your ability to do something different. And then capacity. To increase my capacity, I am caring for myself by gardening, getting out in nature. Like Auntie Kirk and I were talking about, if the wind's not howling and it's 20 degrees, I'm finding a way out the door for at least a little bit of time every day. That helps me reset. Doing some meditations when I can. I can stay awake for them. And, just moving my body, whether it's moving my body outside the house, going on walks with my daughter, or trying just new things. Trying to get her to do some yoga, or she'll do a yoga with a YouTube video and I try to do some crunches and some planks and some things on the side or whatever. And then of course, not just going off of the deep end nutritionally so that I still have the physical capacity, because even if I haven't been exposed to the virus or whatever, right now we have allergies with stuff that is going on or whatever, but all of these significant changes for us and for all of those around us can take a toll on our physical health. And so making sure that I'm supporting myself that way is just, it's a non-negotiable oxygen mask for me.
Yeah. Well, and I'm working on the time thing. I've been back at work for 2 weeks. The first week I was on vacation. I actually worked out. I was on vacation that first week. So what that enabled me to do is set the house up a little bit, which was kind of a little bit of my oxygen mask, as a little bit of a
vanity
clutter phobe. Yeah, I was able to get a couple of things straightened up. My pantry got cleaned out. I was able to clean up my bedroom and set up my workstation for work. So that really set me up. But one thing that I've been struggling with in the last 2 weeks is, because it does knock my time off, because, I had my get up at this time so I could be in the car at this time, right? So it's now I have time. So I would like to set up that routine in the morning. And that's one of the things I'm struggling with. But that's what I'm working on getting kind of coordinated. Because to me, that would be something that would definitely help me, because I hold all of my anxiety in my body, all my stress. And a lot of us do, especially in times like this. So getting that and starting it. But we have actually started walking at night. We take the dog, we take the toddler on his little bike, and we go walking. And that has been helping. And like I said, the schedule, or not the schedule so much as marking the changes in schedule, what I'm doing at this moment, kind of what headspace I need to be in versus the other. And again, some of it's blurring. And one thing I'm grateful for during this time, being someone that's office work. Now, granted, I've been in marketing, which in some industries is more casual, and in some industries is still marketing from the 80s. Yeah, so it kind of goes back and forth. But what I'm grateful for right now is that that the blurring of the lines is helping relax some of those areas of the industry that weren't there. So that's grateful. I'm really grateful for that, and kind of the ability to prove what we can do, right, when those lines blur. But marking the differences in, okay, this is the time I think about this, and at this time I can shut it off for a little bit because now I'm thinking about this. But definitely putting myself into the healthier eating, something I've been working on for the last couple of years. But being at home now and not getting to the store, here we're able to get to the store. I'm getting there once a week. So I'm trying to get the fruits and vegetables in the house, right? But that's what I'm doing. And I'm trying not to, and again, if this is your coping mechanism, great. But try not to put some of those more preservative laden foods. Let's go with that. More those processed foods. Try to keep more to fresh foods, which is why I've been learning new things. Like I learned to bake bread, right? Trying to bring back that, because bread is not, food is food. Healthy food is healthy food. And bread isn't necessarily, granted, for some people, gluten in bread is an enemy. But
Yeah.
Trying to get all of the healthy foods in our bodies to help our bodies naturally fight, or at least be more prepared to fight. So, and thankfully my kids have kind of taken to it pretty well. And not that we're not having treats. I made brownies last night, but I made them from scratch.
Yeah.
I tried a new scratch recipe last night, and they were actually really good.
They look really good. My daughter said, "It's cacao."
They did have eggs in them, so but those are the things that learn a recipe first, and then maybe there's only 2 eggs. It's one of those things that maybe it could be adapted, and I'll let you know. I have plenty of flax meal in my house, so I might try it next time that way.
Yeah.
But those are the things, because because the nutrition helps my mental part too, right? I notice a change when like a couple of days last week, a little bit around hormonal times, and I didn't eat as well as I had for the last 2 weeks, and I could feel the difference. So I know my body, like my body's not as set up. And again,
it is what it is, and you forgive and
exactly
you recognize. You choose to be aware.
Mm-hmm.
Choose again.
And we have some comfort foods in the house, and we have some processed foods in the house because
it's life.
It's life. Yeah. But again, you have one. And you keep going. It's if everything else is set up, then it'll all be good. But yeah, just doing all of those things to do what I can. And friends, right? Talking to friends, being on the phone. Like,
yes.
I mean, we talked more about physical and work and mental, but and like what we're doing that aspect. But the other big oxygen mask is connection, whether it's text. I was on a call with all of my longtime girlfriends. We talked for 3.5 hours Friday night. We basically we literally had a night out. We had our bottles of wine with our glasses, and we sat and we chatted and I've known them since they're sisters, right? I've known them since high school, and we chatted for hours. Our kids came in and out, which some of our kids have never even met each other.
Yeah.
I haven't met most of their kids just because there's 2,500 miles between us. It's just that, but now it's that opportunity, right? I'm scheduling time with even my girlfriends here in town to do the same thing so that we don't lose that conversation and that human connection. I think that's another big oxygen mask. Whether you're more of an introvert and you're okay being home all day, or you're an extrovert, I think it's especially important for those extroverts that they crave being in the office and being around people and the energy of people. It's really hard to connect. So that may be one of your oxygen masks, is you have to find that way to connect with them. It could be a book club. I realized that book club is during one of my weekly meetings, and I can't
move it.
I can't. But which I'm reading at least along with everybody. I just am not getting the conversation. But that maybe find a group, right? Within a group. Because this came out of, it's our teammates, right? It came out of that, and they got together with other friends and created this book group. And
I've got another group of folks. On Tuesday nights, one of the ladies is doing a breathwork thing by Zoom. Before the breathwork thing, another gal in that group is doing an online Zumba. They have like a Thursday night social club. So they're, like a social hour, happy hour online that, everybody's bringing their whatever and just chatting it up in a Zoom and wherever online they meet up. I think that's great. And I know Like the gal who does Zumba did neighborhood Zumba,
Oh, cool.
blared the music outside, and everybody danced in their own driveways.
That's awesome.
And in that same town, they've had neighborhood concerts. Guys playing jazz piano out on his driveway, and everybody else is coming and sitting in their yards, keeping apart,
Mm-hmm.
honoring and being smart and safe, but still having that connection,
Yeah.
right? Still doing things that they love. The musicians getting to express themselves in ways that they love and use those abilities, right?
Yeah.
Because they can't play at a club or a coffee shop or whatever. They have the time, so they're utilizing their time to play. They're just doing it in a different location, right? I listened to a lovely guitar meditation, like a guy that teaches like guitar for yoga.
Mm-hmm.
So somebody that could play
Oh,
live
okay.
guitar while doing yoga.
Oh my
And
gosh,
because
that'd be
he wasn't
amazing.
in a yoga studio, oh, I know, I loved it. I will find his name and I'll send you the link. But it was just lovely. I was just sitting there trying to type, and I was just like, okay, yeah, this is totally.
Yeah.
I really kind of like this.
Well, and I've been playing that kind of stuff while I'm
but
working. Like, playing those kind of
Yep.
things to kind of help with that environment. Maybe next week we can talk about how to make those connections for our kids. Because I think as adults, sometimes it's a little bit easier for us, right? Because we already have that established. We talk to our friends outside of work, or we talk to our friends, right? High school friends, 2,500 miles away. We still talk, we text. But how to maintain some of those connections? I think for our kids, it's hard for the little ones because they don't have as established connections, right? Even if they go to daycare and they see the same 20 kids, 30 kids every day, they're not talking to them when they come home. So now they're home, right, and maybe they don't have siblings in that same age group, right? Like our kids. I have 2 kids, but they're 10 years apart. So the 4-year-old not necessarily playing all the time with the 14-year-old. He probably would, but she doesn't want to, and she shouldn't. She shouldn't have to want to.
Right.
Right. Well, how do you keep him socialized, right, and connected to anybody, right? And then the 14-year-old, she's used to that social and being social and talking to kids. She now archery got shut down pretty much this past week, so she can't even go practice. We could probably go up to the outdoor range, but we're working, so we're working on that schedule. That's our next. What is our ability to help her with that? So she's dealing with some grief from that standpoint. She was practicing 5 to 6 days a week, and that's a social time for her too, because her friends would be there. That's part of her social group.
Right.
So maybe next week we can talk about how to help our kids and ways.
Oxygen Mask for Kids sounds fabulous.
That sounds awesome. The benefits of some of the remote learning opportunities, but they are still not, it's a half an hour to at the most 2 hours a day in different groups. So that's not necessarily going to fill that need. Because we've been doing it a little bit. I think Eden and Ollie have talked probably more in the last 2 weeks.
Yep,
then
but they've needed it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Needed it.
So
sounds like a plan, Stan.
Sounds like a good plan for next Sunday. Yep. Oh wait, do we want to do next Sunday? It's Easter.
It is Easter. Well, we're staying in.
I was gonna say this is true.
Not sure if the predictions about internet darkness is going to be happening or not. But if we do have internet, I'm still game.
Okay.
So we'll decide. We'll let you know.
We will decide by Tuesday and let you know. Because it might be a good opportunity because kids aren't going to be able to go to church functions, to park functions, to city functions, and do the social things. So maybe it's an opportunity. And as you can see, my children aren't up yet. So we obviously aren't doing any. I did have to go to the store and get some to Target and get some things for the house this week. So I did do my Easter shopping early because I didn't want to have to go again next week. So we're ready to go and have some egg hunts, but it's going to be just the two of, there's not, so that might be a good actually topic for next week, but I don't know how many, we'll see, we'll talk. Maybe we'll adjust some timing or something.
Sounds good.
All right. Awesome. Thank you for joining us, and we'll talk to you next Sunday.
All right. Bye.
Bye.